like to call the executive committee to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Samuelson.
Here.
Mr. Steingart.
Here.
Mrs. Labuda.
Here.
Ms. Vetter.
Here.
Mr. Ruiz.
Here.
Mrs. Geiger.
Here.
Mrs. Edwards. Mr. Benson.
Here.
Mr. Sorensen.
Okay. The sole purpose of the meeting today is to interview IDA applicants. This is the first time that we've ever done this publicly. So I just kind of want to go over how we got here and how we're going to do this and how we'll finish it. We originally had 16 applicants to take 2 seats on the IDA board that have been vacated. The legislature then chose up to 5 names, of which we took the top 4 vote getters and have asked them to come in for an interview. So Carol Roig, sitting at the end of the table, is the first of those applicants. We then asked all of our colleagues, or I asked all my colleagues, to submit questions to the clerk, and then the vice chair and the chairman of the IDA and myself went through those questions, prioritized them, so that we're making sure that we're asking the same question of each applicant. When we are done with that, each applicant will leave the room. Only one applicant will be in the room at during the interview, and it will be their interview. When we're done, we will not be choosing today. So you may leave, Carol, when we are done. What I do have here are ballots. They have the 4 names of the IDA applicants, which each of my colleagues will have. We did not determine a time as to when these ballots need to be returned, but we will count the ballots and those will be the people that are chosen. We did ask that 2 votes be put on each ballot. If there's a single vote or bullet voting, we will disregard the vote. So each legislator must vote for 2 people to sit on the board. Are there any questions before we get? Oh, and when we are done, there will be a public comment. So if anybody has anything that they would like to share after hearing these interviews, will be more than welcome to do that. Are there any questions?
So the ballot itself will go to Annie when we
No, the
fill
ballot will go to each of us.
No, I mean when we're done filling.
To
when do
Annie.
You want it? It's filled today, and then it goes to
Doesn't
Annie.
have to be today. I think that we probably want to give a couple of days. If you want to talk to, we want to talk to each other. If you want to speak to anybody who's in the room, or you want to speak to somebody else.
Then Annie will review it and calculate the votes.
Correct.
And then
we will determine that. Okay.
Just to add, that the public becomes aware that these questions that were formulated, we never got to see prior to a half an hour ago, so
Correct.
No interviewee has been given any prior knowledge as to what these questions are, so that everybody's coming in with the same amount of impromptu answer.
Okay. Welcome, Cora. Since we are starting 10 minutes late and we are limited with time with each applicant, we will push everything out 10 minutes so that everybody has the same amount of time. We've scheduled 30 minutes for each applicant. So what we've asked each applicant to do is to prepare a 5 to 7 minute speech or statement as to why they would like to serve on the board. So Carol, first of all, welcome. Thank you for agreeing to, stepping up to do this, and thanks for agreeing to come in and do it this way. We appreciate it. Cindy, Carol, one more second.
I'm sorry.
Cindy has a question.
When the interview is finished
Correct,
by the
yeah.
applicant, and the questions are asked,
Yes.
the candidate will have the same question. If we are formulating questions that come, sparked by the interview itself, is there going to be a brief time for the legislature to ask additional questions?
Probably not, is because we're so limited in time. That's why we want to make sure that each applicant is asked the same questions, and there will be a single interviewer. So that's why we're going that way. Okay, so perfect timing. You're on.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about this today, and I'm very flattered to be one of the 4 candidates that you're interviewing. I was born in Texas and grew up in Houston opportunity, I moved back to New York, to his roots. I graduated from the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, and moved to New York City in 1978. Over the course of 20 years in the city, I had the opportunity to work for some very innovative and groundbreaking organizations involved in community development, especially community development through the arts, health and human services, and educational reform. The expertise I developed over that period of time is mainly in the communications area, a whole range of kinds of materials and initiatives that are necessary for good communications and publicity for organizations, public relations, public information initiatives, community outreach, internal communications and strategic planning, grant writing, speech writing, corporate identity, board development, and a lot of instructional materials for staff training and faculty development for higher education, program development and operation, and formal evaluation processes for educational programs. As an independent contractor, I worked for NYU, Lighthouse International, Arts Connection, which is a major proponent of in-depth arts training in the city and public schools, Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, where I worked on a comprehensive breast cancer program that involved counseling as well as community outreach. I moved to Sullivan County in 1998. My husband and I bought a house up here and spent a year refurbishing it and moved in 1998. And that gave me an opportunity to become much more involved in community development and community planning issues. My first outing in that area was in 2005 when I worked with a fledgling, brand new Chamber of Commerce in Berryville to secure one of the first $30,000 Category C Sullivan Renaissance grants, and I ended up being the project manager for that project. That involved developing tourism and beautification projects in the hamlet of Berryville. And then in 2007, I think, developing out of that experience, I had the opportunity to complete the Pace University Land Use Law Center LULA program, which deals with helping initiate best practices for development and negotiation strategies for finding common ground between developers and planners and residents to encourage high-quality development. In 2011 and 2012, I chaired the Town of Highland Comprehensive Plan rewrite and the zoning rewrite for the Town of Highland. And in 2011, I had the great pleasure of joining the staff of Sullivan Alliance for Sustainable Development, where I've been involved in community outreach, analyzing the Sullivan County buildings for opportunities for energy efficiency and renewable energy installations. And in 2013, when Dick Reisland chose to retire from his role as executive director, my colleague Stephen Stewart and I were named co-executive directors of SASD. So, as you know, we've been working on a climate action plan for the county and also a lot of outreach to our towns to get them to join that project, save money on their energy bills in the towns, and adopt sustainability practices in their planning. So, what I believe qualifies me for this position and why I was very interested in pursuing it was the knowledge base I would bring to it in terms of communication, what I know how to do, my experience working with people from many diverse fields, different kinds of programs. When you're a grant writer or a communications person, you have to synthesize that information into a coherent whole and make sure all of those constituencies are pleased with the result. What my clients say about me is that I am creative and analytical, I'm organized, I'm very deeply curious, and I'm a good colleague. And that's feedback from my clients that I've cherished over the years. I think it's important to serve because I think the IDA is critically important, and especially right now. And I think the IDA's goals dovetailed very well with the sustainability goals that I've been involved with Sullivan Alliance. I think energy innovation is going to be a big economic driver for the 21st century economy. I think that energy costs are going to be a big issue that can either inhibit growth or propel growth for us. And there are a lot of other environmental issues like water resources that affect our ability to grow and develop. So I'd like to contribute some of that perspective to the IDA and add a focus on the opportunities that are associated with the energy economy, both to make sure that our Sullivan County businesses secure all of the energy efficiency and renewable energy incentives and tax credits and opportunities to create operational savings, but also to encourage the creation of new energy-related businesses and bigger energy initiatives that will benefit our businesses and contribute to growth. I always use the word sustainability, and I encountered a different term a couple of weeks ago. Sullivan Alliance presented a symposium, and one of our presenters gave a talk about very highly efficient, what's called passive house construction techniques, which is a way of building a house that needs almost no energy for heating and cooling the house. And he kept using the phrase high performance, and I was very taken with that phrase, thinking about sustainable buildings are really high performance buildings. And extrapolating from that, we need high performance systems, we need high performance institutions, we need high performance thinking and expectations for what our county can achieve. And those are some of the ideas I would hope to be able to bring to the IDA. Some of the businesses and opportunities I'm thinking about are energy districts and microgrids and putting together investment packages for those. Biomass and waste to energy developers, for technologies for those. Solar installers, we need more solar installers, and they need training. The people who are already here need training and help qualifying to work through NYSERDA for the kinds of programs that can be supported through NYSERDA. I was just hearing about an opportunity for commercial composting. Ulster County is developing a commercial loop to collect, have a private carrier collect kitchen waste, organic kitchen waste for composting. That's a saleable product. And we need to pay attention to our Main Street businesses. We have a graying demographic in Sullivan County, which we could perhaps put to our good use, because those folks don't like to travel a long way to shop. They like to shop locally on their Main Street businesses, so perhaps we can work out a way to develop that demographic. Where I see the board going in the future and where I'd like to participate, where my focus might be, would certainly be in the energy sector, would be helping those small businesses and rural businesses. Mrs. Vetter brought up a question about how to help small businesses and rural businesses thrive. And I'd be curious to know whether, in terms of the IDA, whether that's, whether there's an access problem, whether there are programmatic initiatives that our small businesses could be taking advantage of and aren't because of the communication side, or whether we need to develop new initiatives that serve those smaller businesses. Either way, we need to talk to people and find out what they need and create those opportunities. I know for our independent contractors, our building contractors, I know a lot of people in the building trades, construction, electricians and plumbers. There are opportunities and there are barriers, and like I said, that business Building Performance Institute training that they need to qualify to be chosen as a contractor through the NYSERDA programs and NYSERDA incentives. That training is very expensive. The equipment is very expensive. They have to renew that training every year. Maybe there's some opportunities the IDA could come up with to help them secure that. I'm interested in tourism, agriculture, health and wellness, collaborations. We have incredible institutions in Sullivan County: Cornell Cooperative, the Partnership, Sullivan Renaissance, SUNY Sullivan. I'm interested in ways we can enrich those collaborations and kind of step up our game for how we help each other get the maximum result. There are also a lot of regional opportunities, and in the state funding, there's a lot of weight given to regional collaboration, so I'd be looking for that sort of thing as well. I don't have any prior experience with the IDA, other than a very cordial meeting that I had with Mr. Steingart and with Jen Walensky and Jen Flood to talk about the possibility of some tax incentives for energy efficiency. And I am aware of the Sullivan County Ethics Law. I don't think there are any barriers to my service on the board. your guidance on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll, excuse me, start with the questions. The first question is, there are many, and I'm sure you're aware of this, and I would venture to say that this applies to 90% of us sitting in the room. There are many misconceptions regarding the purpose of the IDA and what their role in economic development is. What is your understanding of the purpose of an IDA, and specifically what their role in economic development in Sullivan County is?
My understanding of the purpose of the IDA is to promote economic development, to bring opportunities to our existing businesses and to help attract new businesses, and to provide tax benefits to induce those businesses to come to Sullivan County, to expand in Sullivan County. So tax breaks and also low interest loans to help businesses develop or expand in the county.
Okay. This is not a trick question. Do you feel it is appropriate to promote your own business or property to an IDA applicant when the applicant is aware of your IDA board member status?
I would be very careful about that. I would, my own personal, I don't know whether technically and legally it's right or wrong, but I would be very careful about promoting my own business. I would say no, that's not appropriate.
Excuse me. With the possibility of gaming developers coming to Sullivan County and seeking IDA benefits, do you believe that financial ability to actually pay full taxes should be a reason to deny an applicant benefits?
I don't know whether that has been a criteria for the, for awarding tax benefits to any other business, so I'm not sure whether the gaming industry should be treated differently from other industries. I would have to, I can't answer that question in an informed way without knowing more about how the IDA works and how those decisions are made internally, and also the specific case.
Okay. Sure. How do you feel that casino resort development will impact economic development countywide?
Well, I think we're all hopeful that casino resort development will benefit the county countywide in boosting tourism, boosting visitation to the county. I'd like to see us diversify our tourism options so that people who are coming for the casinos also are aware that we have historical sites and we have other attractions for them. I reserve judgment on the employment. I'm certainly hopeful that since the taxpayers have, or the voters have opted to do this, that we will, that employment will materialize, and that would be a huge benefit for the county as a whole.
As a potential IDA member, have you or your family ever received IDA benefits, and how has that influenced your desire to be on the board?
No, we've
No.
not applied for or received.
Okay. Do you believe that the IDA should include equitable benefits, include equitable efforts in small business development as afforded to larger job creators?
Yes, I would really like to see that happen. I would like to see appropriate, scale appropriate benefits for smaller businesses. It's very painful to see, as you drive through our hamlets, to see storefronts that have been fixed up, businesses launched, and those businesses have not made it. You see a change out, and there's certain hamlets and villages that you go through where you see the same space over and over again. So I would love to see more counseling and assistance to smaller businesses.
This is a long and complicated question, but it's actually a good question. Periodically, the uniform tax abatement policy is reviewed with the taxing jurisdictions, and the pilot programs are changed, added, or eliminated. A developer submits an application for a specific pilot and meets all the criteria for the pilot. They've satisfied their environmental review process and has a favorable cost-benefit analysis. They also show the financial capability to build and maintain the project. The question is, what is your opinion as to their rights of getting the pilot and sales and mortgage tax abatement? I mean, I'll repeat any part. It's a long question, so if you have any
Yeah,
question.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Train leaves Chicago
It should have
at
been
3.
broken down. That's,
I thought you were going to, present a case in which the town chose to change the specific, qualifications. If they've met all those qualifications and satisfied the, environmental review, I don't know enough about how those decisions are made to know if there are other decision points beyond their qualifying at the town level. So, on the surface of your question, it sounds like the answer is yes. I would want to know more before I pronounced on it.
So you believe that if they've satisfied all of those requirements, that they should be afforded or awarded the benefits?
If they've satisfied all of the IDA's requirements and all the town's requirements, if that's the premise of your question,
Mm-hmm.
as long as all of the decision process has gone through, I would not be inclined to reject outright or be looking for an excuse to reject an application that had gone through all of the proper and satisfied all of the questions.
Okay. You win the prize. You were the fastest answerer of all questions. So,
Thus far.
in all fairness, you know, I would like to do this in a very organized manner. But if any of my colleagues have a question, a specific question that they would like to ask, please raise your hand and we'll go there, Cindy.
could you just read number 3 again?
Number 3 is, with the possibility of gaming developers coming to Sullivan County and seeking IDA benefits, do you believe financial ability to actually pay full taxes should be a reason to deny the applicant benefits?
Okay.
I have a question if Cindy's done.
Oh, you
Go
didn't
ahead,
have a-
No,
Kathy.
she just
You
wanted
have
a
a
No,
question?
yeah, I
There you
just
go.
wanted clarification of that particular
Okay.
question.
Go ahead.
Carol, just a simple question. Why do you want to sit on the IDA board? What, tell me why.
I think what the IDA does is very important. I think other counties, other jurisdictions are going to bring a sustainability sensibility to their development decisions, and I think that I would love to make a contribution in that direction to our IDA. I think it will strengthen the IDA, and I think it will strengthen our businesses if they are given the opportunity and the help they need to achieve operational economies and also the investment opportunities of the renewable energy economy that is coming.
Anybody else, any other legislator have a question? Okay. We thank you for
Thank you.
coming in.
Thank you
We
very much.
really appreciate your time, and we will let you know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have